Morning people. Today on F Politics we have the King's Speech. Now this is not going to be an argument for or against the monarchy, because even when I was significantly more pro-monarchy than I am now, mainly because we had a queen, and for me, having a king is just kind of basic, the Queen's speech still made me deeply uncomfortable. Because during these speeches, the monarch reads out a message from the government about the laws they're going to pass in Parliament, but they read them out using the government's own language. So even if you support the monarchy, how does it feel watching the government force their lies out of your monarch's lips? It turns the monarch into a party political puppet. For example,
by taking these long-term decisions, my government would change this country and build a better future.
Well, that was just a slogan for Tory party conference.
My ministers will address inflation and the drivers of low growth.
If they were actually going to address the drivers of low growth, they'd undo Brexit. Can you think of any other policy that's taking 4% of our economy? But let's take it back to inflation, i.e. the rising cost of living.
My ministers will support the Bank of England to return inflation to target, to ease the cost of living for families and help businesses fund new jobs and investments.
Well, the Bank of England says that Brexit is making inflation worse. You can't say you're serious about addressing these things with Brexit still on the books.
Proposals will be implemented to reduce the number of young people studying poor quality university degrees.
This was the plan that Rishi Sunak announced a few months ago to reduce the number of university places available for low-value degrees, on the basis that those degrees had a lower likelihood of leading to graduate jobs or starting a business. But several organisations raised the point that this would disadvantage the people who are already the most disadvantaged, because social mobility in the UK is crap. So people in the most high-flying jobs tend to come from more well-off backgrounds. So if you work that back and look at which degrees they took, you're going to end up protecting the career paths of the wealthy while chucking away the career paths of the poor. And while it can be argued that there are some degrees that offer false hope to working class people, do you know who I don't trust to make that decision? This guy. Not to mention, as pointed out by Joe Grady, the General Secretary of the University and College Union, it would mean that only the richest students would be able to study cultural subjects. Oh, and just as an aside, given that most of our shittiest politicians tend to study politics, philosophy and economics at the same place, if we happen to defund PPE at Oxford, it wouldn't be the worst thing. Furthermore, given that ethnic minority people have to work twice as hard to get the same jobs, and that is a matter of proven statistical fact, limiting the availability of qualifications to climb the employment ladder is an attack on ethnic minority people.
My ministers will take steps to make the economy more competitive, taking advantage of freedoms afforded by the United Kingdom's departure from the European Union.
The British Chamber of Commerce says that 56% of UK export businesses say that Brexit has made their lives harder, with the Small Business Federation regularly saying that the extra red tape of Brexit is strangling them. And Rishi Sunak himself has said that Brexit is the reason why UK exports are lagging behind other similar countries. This Get Brexit Done government has been in power for 4 years. We're now at the end of your term, and now you're saying, don't worry, the Brexit benefits are coming soon. Again, to my monarchists out there, how does it feel to watch them make Charlie lie to you?
My ministers will continue to negotiate trade agreements with dynamic economies, delivering jobs and growth in the United Kingdom.
According to the government's own experts, the benefits of the trade deals that they've done so far don't even come close to making up for the damage that Brexit has done to our trade with the EU.
Legislation will be brought forward to support the creative industries and protect public interest journalism.
To me, that sounds like they want to loosen the rules so that their propaganda channel GB News can tell whatever lies they like while Labour are in office.
Proposals will be published to reform welfare and support more people into work.
Right there, they're talking about their plans to reform the way that they test whether somebody's disability means they're unable to work, and therefore their entitlement to benefits. And given that Rishi Sunak has voted 8 times on whether to raise disability pay, and has voted against it 8 times, and given that as recently as 2 months ago, Rishi Sunak said he might be about to cut benefits in real terms, you can see what they mean by encouraging people back into work.
My government will promote the integrity of the Union.
Your government put a border down the Irish Sea, leaving Northern Ireland under the jurisdiction of the EU when it comes to goods. Your Brexit broke the Union.
And strengthen the social fabric of the United Kingdom.
Sorry, what? Did you just say that your Tory party is strengthening the fabric of UK society? Sorry, how did you say that you plan to win the next election?
It'll probably be a mixture of culture wars and trans debate.
That's what I thought. Carry on. And when it comes to the NHS and the strikes...
And minimum service levels to prevent strikes from undermining patient safety.
Let me show you a bit of the interview that I did with nurses during the strikes.
We don't want to strike.
No.
And so what happens if you don't go on strike?
Things will continue as they are now, so patients will be put at risk every single day. So every shift, there are 83% of shifts covered by nurses that are
Understaffed.
So
Yeah.
that is providing unsafe care for our patients. That is putting patients at risk. So we are nurses because we deeply care about our patients, and we're not being allowed to do that.
And we care about each other, we care about the future of nursing. We can't see that people are attracted to the job because they hear about the pressures.
Even without the strikes, there aren't minimum service levels because of their government. They are just attacking our human rights.
My government will act to keep communities safe from crime, antisocial behaviour, terrorism and illegal migration.
Okay, so we're back to lumping foreigners in with terrorists then. As if we're not currently being run by a government that told people to shake hands during a pandemic, locked down too late in what the Parliament's inquiry found to be one of the worst public health failures in UK history, killing 20,000 people. But no, the real threat to the UK is apparently refugees.
My government will deliver on the Illegal Migration Act passed earlier this year.
He's talking about their plans to send refugees to Rwanda, even though the High Court said that that wasn't safe because Rwanda has a recent history of genocide and shooting refugees.
And supporting the cause of peace and stability in the Middle East.
Sorry, by what? By selling weapons to Saudi Arabia, which they use to bomb hospitals and schools in Yemen? Or by supporting Israel while they commit ethnic cleansing against 2 million people in Gaza? Again, using UK bombs. But please, tell me again how the UK is an agent of peace and stability in the Middle East.
My ministers will put the security of communities and the nation ahead of the rights of those who endanger it.
That sounds like a reference to their plans to label anybody who undermines British values as an extremist. Basically clamping down on our ability to criticise the government because to hell with human rights. You see, Tory propaganda is bad enough, but Tory propaganda being spewed at us by a dude wearing a golden crown? Anyway, I'm Femi, this has been F Politics, so politics doesn't F you. Have a great week.